The incredible alliance of knowledge, wealth, and silence. Have you ever had that nagging feeling that you're being sabotaged? That no matter how hard you try, you're just running on a hamster wheel, one designed to keep you exactly where you are. You follow the script, you go to school, you work hard, maybe you graduate from college. You're taught that a good job is the key. You enter the workforce and suddenly realize that good job is just a more sophisticated hamster wheel. You work hard, you pay high taxes, and at the end of the month, it feels like you're just scraping by. So, you decide you're going to change. You get a project idea, a new career plan, maybe a side hustle. You're excited. You tell a friend. You post about it on social media. And then nothing. The momentum vanishes. That initial excitement is replaced by a quick hit of confidence that leads nowhere. What is happening? The answer is that you're fighting an invisible prison, and you're trying to escape it using the wrong tools, while shouting your escape plan to the guards. What you and I are about to discuss are the 3 pillars of true freedom. It's not a magic formula, but it is a map. The first is self-education, the philosophy of rebellion. The second is financial education, the forbidden knowledge. And the third is silent focus, the strategy of execution. Alone, each of these pillars is powerful. Together, they are uncontrollable. And that is precisely why the system does not want you to connect them. Self-education, the declaration of intellectual independence. Let's start with the obvious truth nobody admits: the educational system wasn't created to free you, it was created to domesticate you. Think about your school experience. Were you taught how to learn, to fundamentally question premises, to creatively connect disparate fields? Or were you taught to sit in rows, obey schedules, accept authority without question, and compete for grades? The first text you sent me hits the nail on the head. This isn't education, it's conditioning. The goal isn't to create free-thinking innovators, but obedient workers, predictable consumers, and citizens who don't ask too many questions. And the ultimate symbol of this system, the diploma. The text on autodidacts gives us a harsh truth. The diploma doesn't certify knowledge, it certifies conformity. It's a stamp that says, this person went through the correct process, was properly domesticated. This is why the system hates autodidacts. When you decide that you will acquire knowledge without asking permission, you become a threat. You become uncontrollable. Expensive and bureaucratic institutions that sell access to knowledge are, in many cases, unnecessary. You are living proof that the emperor has no clothes. Being an autodidact, therefore, isn't just about reading books or taking online courses. It's a political act. It's a declaration of intellectual independence. It's you saying, I am the author of my own intellectual story. I take responsibility for my own mind. This is where most people stop. They pride themselves on being intellectuals, on reading philosophy or history on their own. But being an intellectual autodidact, while admirable, doesn't get you off the hamster wheel. You can be the most brilliant self-taught philosopher in the world and still be broke, working a job you hate. Why? Because being an autodidact is just the method. It's the key you forged, but you don't yet know which lock it opens. That's where the second pillar comes in. You need to aim this superpower of learning to learn at the knowledge the system works the forbidden knowledge. If the traditional education system is guilty of domestication, its greatest omission, its greatest crime, is the total neglect of financial education. Did the system teach you how to balance a checkbook? The difference between an asset and a liability? How taxes really work? How to use debt to get rich instead of poor? Of course not. Your parents and teachers probably didn't know either. They are products of the same system. The system trained you for 12 to 16 years not to understand money, but, and this is crucial, to work for money. Robert Kiyosaki. The Power of Financial Education is the manual that should have come with the game of life, but the game's creators hid it from you. What it teaches us is what I call the unfair advantage. Let's break down the rules the autodidact must learn. The game isn't salary, it's cash flow. The system teaches you to get a high-paying job. Kiyosaki calls this the least effective way to get rich. Why? Because the person who earns a high salary but spends it all isn't rich. They just have an expensive lifestyle. The reason people are poor is not because they don't earn enough money, but because they don't know what to do with the money they earn. The financial autodidact learns to stop focusing on capital gains, like buying a stock hoping it goes up, and to focus obsessively on cash flow. Cash flow is the money that flows into your pocket every month of assets and liabilities. This is the most important lesson. The system gave you complex accounting definitions. Kiyosaki's definition is simple and brutal. Assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. It's that simple. A business that pays you every month is an asset. A rental property that profits is an asset. Stocks that pay dividends are assets. Now, brace for the red pill. Your own home, the one the system told you is your greatest asset. It's a liability. It takes money out of your pocket every single month in taxes, maintenance, and insurance. The car you financed, a liability. The 8K TV, a liability. The rich use their money to buy assets. The poor and middle class use their money to buy liabilities that they think are assets. The quadrant of wealth, E, S, B, I. This is the treasure map. Kiyosaki says there are 4 types of people in the business world. E, employee. You have a job. You trade time for money. You value security. S, self-employed, specialist. You own your job. You're a doctor, a lawyer, a freelancer. You still trade time for money, but you have more control and more risk. B, business owner. You own a system. You have people working for you. You don't trade time for money. I, investor. Money works for you. Your assets generate cash flow. The educational system is a factory for E's and S's. It trains you for the left side of the quadrant. Why? Because that's where you pay the most taxes and have the least leverage. True financial freedom is on the right side, B and I. The tax laws reward those who help the economy, business owners, B, who create jobs, and investors, I, who provide capital. They pay fewer taxes. Your goal as an autodidact is to use your knowledge to build a system, B, or buy assets, I, that move you to the right side of the quadrant. Debt is a tool, not a sentence. The system teaches you that all debt is bad. This is a convenient lie to keep savers well, saving. Kiyosaki reveals there is good debt and bad debt. Bad debt. This is when you borrow money to buy liabilities. Example: financing a luxury car or maxing out a credit card for a vacation. Good debt. This is when you borrow money to buy assets. Example: taking out a loan to buy a rental property that generates positive cash flow. You are using the bank's money to get rich. The system rewards debtors and punishes savers. Why? Inflation. While governments print money, your saved cash in the bank is the strategy of execution. Okay, now things get serious. You've understood that the system is a trap. You've decided to become an autodidact and use your intellectual independence to master the game of money. You're ready to start. You're going to build your B business, buy your first I asset. You're excited. Your first reaction is to tell everyone. Do not do this. This is the point where 99% of all rebellions fail. This is where the third pillar, the text, never tell people what you do, comes in. This is your execution strategy. If self-education is your declaration of war and financial education is your battle plan, silence is your camouflage. Why silence is your greatest weapon? You become a threat the moment you decide to learn on your own, but you become a target the moment you start talking about it. The third text is clear. Talking is easy. Talking gives you a quick hit of confidence, but it doesn't give you results. Worse, talking makes you feel like you've made progress, even when you haven't. You trade action for the comfort of validation. When you announce your plans, you invite opinions, you invite distractions, you invite judgment. And guess who will be giving those opinions? The guardians of knowledge, who will feel threatened, the professionals who despise those who learned on their own, and people who aren't even doing anything with their own lives. Opinions are the system's immune system. They are how conformity therefore must be that of the silent executor. 1. Shut your mouth and get serious about your life. Your transformation doesn't begin with a social media post. It begins with a quiet decision inside your own mind. You don't need permission, approval, or applause. You need focus. 2. Work quietly on your goals every single day. The game is won in consistency, not short-term intensity. You must build your habits without telling anyone. Why? Because a habit doesn't get stronger by talking about it. It gets stronger by repeating it. You are building real self-trust, which comes from showing up again and again, not from likes and praise. 3. Stop proving and start doing what really matters. The need to prove anything is a trap. It keeps you in a cycle of seeking permission. You trade progress for performance. The true autodidact isn't trying to be impressive, he's trying to be effective. 4. Handle your struggles alone and grow from them. This is the hardest part. The autodidact's path is lonely. The investor's path involves making mistakes. You will fail. The impulse will be to complain publicly, to seek sympathy. The silent executor resists. They choose strength over sympathy. They understand that the pain is there to teach them to build character. 5. Let your results show what you've been doing. This is the payoff. You don't need to explain your plans. People don't remember your plans. They remember what you finish. One day, people will look at you. They will see your assets, your freedom, your calm. They will wonder how you did it. And you won't need to say a word. Your success will speak when it's time. The Trinity in action, your path forward. Here is how it all fits together. Self-education is your permission to quit the job of obedient worker. It's your decision that you, not an institution, will define your knowledge. Financial education is your first and most important self-taught curriculum. It's the map that takes you from the left side of the quadrant, employee, self-employed, to the right side, business owner, investor. Silent focus is your work methodology. It's the discipline to fight in private, to build in silence, to protect your new, fragile mindset from the opinions and noise of a system designed to pull you back into conformity. You cannot have one without the others. Without financial education, The autodidact is a broke dreamer. Without the autodidact spirit, the student of finance is just a talker who knows the theory, but lacks the courage to think unconventionally and apply it. And without silence, both are killed in the cradle by social pressure, ridicule, and constant shut your mouth. Grab the finance books. Use your autodidact superpower to devour them. Start small. Build your first asset. Maybe it's a B, business, maybe an I, investment. Make your mistakes in silence. Learn from them alone. Work every single day. Be patient. Trust your pace. Do this for 1 year, 5 years, 10. One day, you will wake up, look at your life, and realize that the cash flow from your assets pays for your entire lifestyle. You will realize you are financially free. And the best part, you won't have to tell anyone. They'll know. Your success will be strong, undeniable, and built to last. That is the Trinity of Sovereignty. That is your plan. Now, stop talking. Start doing.